Hi, Friday, July 22nd, 2016. Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'd like to talk about Donald Trump. Uh, Yesterday, he gave his speech, acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention. It was a bit of a seemed like a concert as well. I was watching it on the internet till very late. Um, and one thing, well, there's a few things I want to say about his speech. He focused a lot on law and order, which makes sense. You know, a lot of people feel that the establishment and the elite have had one set of rules for them, and the American people, the general public, has another set of rules. Case in point being John Corzine, who stole clients' money at MF Global, but he was a senator, a former senator, and nothing happened to him. So that's one case in point, and also, the bailout of the Wall Street banks. They got away with it, with the crisis, and they became even wealthier. So, and Donald Trump said, Hillary Clinton and the establishment, they're corrupt. He actually used the word corrupt. The system is rigged, he said. I guess he means the political economic system is rigged. The big corporations and the politicians, are in the big corporations' pockets. So it all made sense. I have a feeling he could win these presidential elections come November. But being a contrarian, I like to talk about what I think is going on. Basically, I think Donald Trump could be a pawn of the bankers, the Federal Reserve System, the people who control the money. And why do I say that? Well, he did mention that the national debt was 20 trillion, which is true, but he didn't mention, the 200 trillion plus in entitlements that the U.S. government, owes over the next, not every year, but over a period of time. He didn't mention the demographic time bomb of all the baby boomers retiring. He didn't mention, didn't actually mention the word bankers. He just mentioned corporations, and he didn't touch upon, the derivatives, time bomb, quadrillion in nominal derivatives. What else? Yeah, he said we're going to do this and this. We're going to create jobs, and we're going to. I assume he's going to cut the debt because he said the debt is too high. But in a fiat money system that we have, unless you create more debt, the economy will implode. It will collapse. So I don't get how he's going to, get the economy going again without more debt. And the fact that he didn't even mention the irresponsible monetary policy of the Federal Reserve, the fact that they bailed out, the Wall Street in 2008, it just leaves me a bit suspicious. Not suspicious. I think he means, basically, don't get me wrong, I think he means all the things he says, about all the political correctness that he's tired of, and I think a lot of people are. The fact that there's one rule for, the establishment and the elite and the corporations who can keep trillions of dollars offshore and not be taxed on it, and the average Joe in the U.S., or average Jane, if you want to call it, who have to pay their taxes and then can't have offshore accounts. Those kind of things, I agree with him, but looking at some of the other stories, like when we had the Brexit vote here in the UK, the morning that the result came out and that the UK voted to leave the European Union, Donald Trump met with Rupert Murdoch, who's the owner of Fox News, owner of the Wall Street Journal. He met Rupert Murdoch at his golf course in Scotland, Turnberry, for lunch. And Rupert Murdoch, tabloid newspaper, The Sun, also supported Brexit here in the UK. And it's strange because I brought up Rupert Murdoch's WikiLeaks page, and it says political activities in the United States. And it says on 8th of May 2006, the Financial Times reported that Rupert Murdoch would be hosting a fundraiser for Senator Hillary Clinton's Senate re-election campaign. So he supported Hillary Clinton. What else? Let's see here. Murdoch was asked whether he had anything to do with the New York Post's endorsement of Barack Obama in the Democratic primaries. Without hesitating, Murdoch replied, "Yeah, he's a rock star. It's fantastic. I love what he's saying about education. I don't think he will in Florida, etc., etc." So, you know, he supported Clinton. He supported Obama. He supported Tony Blair, you know, his Labor. He's supporting Trump now. You know, there's an article here, the New York magazine, why Rupert Murdoch decided to back Donald Trump. You know, and they met after Brexit in Scotland to have a nice, cozy lunch. It says here, according to half a dozen sources familiar with Murdoch's thinking, the media mogul has signaled plans to fully back Trump in the general election against Hillary Clinton. So what's going on? You know, why is the establishment, you know, the guy who owns Fox News, Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Smart Money, why is he backing Trump? And what else? Yeah, the other story that caught my attention is one from Fortune magazine, July 19th, and it says, "Here's who Donald Trump wants for Treasury Secretary." And it says, I'll put it in quotes, Donald Trump has told prospective donors that if elected president, he plans to nominate former Goldman Sachs banker Steve Mnuchin, it's M-N-U-C-H-I-N, Mnuchin, for U.S. Treasury Secretary. That's according to Anthony Scaramucci, a high-profile hedge fund manager and Trump fundraiser. Mnuchin, who is a former donor to Hillary Clinton, spent 17 years with Goldman Sachs, where his father also had been a prominent executive. He later worked with investment groups affiliated with George Soros, including as chairman of controversial mortgage lender One West Bank Group. He also spent time both as an art dealer and film producer. Early this year, the 53-year-old Mnuchin joined Donald Trump's campaign as National Finance Chairman. So, what am I trying to say here? Well, basically, what I'm trying to say is that, first of all, the huge problem in the American economy is the entitlements, you know, that for the last, you know, since the New Deal and the 60s, Americans have been promised Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and all that money has been spent or is gone. And it's hundreds of trillions that are going to be owed, especially with the baby boomers starting to retire in earnest, you know, since 2012. Second, the national debt of 20 trillion, that's unpayable. And especially if interest rates go up, how are you going to cover the interest payments? So, yes, Mr. Trump had, you know, he said, oh, he's going to protect American jobs. He's going to bring trillions back into the country. But what about the debt, Mr. Trump? What about all the entitlements? And what about all the derivatives? And what about the Fed's balance sheet? So my view is that they're banging Donald Trump to clean up the system, basically. And by cleaning up, I mean they're going to have to bring the system down because the system is broken. You know, it's like a car that is completely broken, but they've fixed it so much and it's still moving, but they really need to take it apart and rebuild it. And that's what I think they're going to do. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can't see any other way out of the economic problems of the United States. Not only the United States, but don't get me wrong, it's Western Europe, the UK here as well. We're all bankrupt. We've all promised, our governments have promised too much to everyone, and they haven't got the money anymore. So it's a little bit maybe like 1932. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected president, and the country was in crisis. You know, a lot of banks were shutting down. And he came in, I think it was in March. Inauguration was March 1933 in those times. It wasn't in January. And he had to shut the banks, a bank holiday. So, and he was viewed as a socialist, you know, who was going to rein in Wall Street. But he had strong relations to Wall Street and the bankers as well. So that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe, I think Donald Trump could be the new FDR, and he'll come in and have to clean things up. And the reason they're bringing him in is that he's not part of the establishment, so the American people will accept him, you know, to clean things up. They need someone supposedly outside the system to do it. They couldn't do it with Hillary Clinton, who's been part of the system, the establishment, since the 80s when her husband was governor of Arkansas and then became president of the United States. So yeah, that's my opinion on Donald Trump. I think he's a decent person personally, and but I think he's a pawn of the bankers, and I think it's the only way the bankers can bring the system down and fix it without a major revolution in the United States. So if you like my analysis and my views, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Take care and have a nice weekend.